Is guacamole a fruit salad?
What is the best milkshake for bringing boys to the yard?
Ostriches are dinosaurs.
Don't piss off old people. New game.
What do you mean it gives you Arby's mouth?
Artisanal muck duck balls.
I think they call that autofellatio.
I want to high five a shark.
Welcome to Bar Banter. Relax, have a drink with us as we debate the most controversial topics in the world today.
On today's podcast, we're having a bar brawl. That's right. We're bringing it back. We're having a bar brawl where we take inanimate or fictional things and we pit them against one another. And this podcast will determine the winner of that fight. But before we get into the brawl, Danny Wadsby's joining us. Danny, what are you drinking?
Going with my go-to, bullet bourbon on the rocks, club soda on the side for a splash.
Like in your face or in the drink?
Depends on how I'm feeling, really.
That's the right answer.
Danny, what you drinking tonight?
Went a little Terramana tequila and water. It's a nice cube in it, although my cube's half melted now. Rick Madison, what are you drinking?
I am enjoying another Long Island iced tea tonight because I am a creature of habit and cycles. And this is my next cycle. Drew, what are you drinking?
I'm excited for this cycle, Rick. I'm I'm on the Topo Chico Margarita hard seltzers. I bought a 12 pack of those from different flavors.
Hold on. Topo Chico in margarita in a can, or you made margaritas with Topo Chicos? Okay, it's in a can.
It's a hard seltzer in a can, yeah. My favorite type of hard seltzer or favorite brand. I think they do a really good job. I might have said that before. Travis, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a New Belgium Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. A rare blend of choice hops creates an explosion of fresh cut pine and citrus flavors for a complex, rich, and delicious finish, according to New Belgium in Asheville, North Carolina. And if you guys disagree with me, you'll have to fight me.
It was okay.
Fair enough. Our first bar brawl is going to be the Keebler Elves versus the elves from Santa's Workshop, or the North Pole Elves. Who has thoughts?
Bar brawl. I'm going to go first.
Yeah, go for it. Jump out there.
There's only one right answer.
And there's a left answer.
The Keebler Elves would win and would win soundly because they're the only elves not to be disproven thus far.
Interesting.
Are you hold on,
take, Rick.
are you pulling a Travis's argument from episode 1 where you're just essentially assuming that something's not real, so it's got to be the other one?
No.
You said the North Pole Elves have been disproven.
We've been to the North Pole, no one found them.
We haven't been that, but we've been to the several depths
There's
of
literally
the ocean. We're still discovering
where the North
And that's
Pole
where the Keebler
is.
Elves really live, is the depths of the ocean.
Fucking Atlantis.
not a shot in hell, Rick. Not a shot in hell that the Keebler Elves pull this one off. What do they do all day? They bake cookies. That's it. That's all they do. They are not well versed in toy making, where they have to use sharp objects. They have to use complex tools. They have to integrate different technologies. They're smarter. They're stronger. They're faster. The North Pole Elves would crush the Keebler Elves and burn down that stupid treehouse they live in as well. I rest my case.
I'm going to add in, because we have a rare moment in history where I actually agree with Rick. And this is why you're wrong, Travis. Did you see the movie Elf? They make toys by pouring sugar and hitting it with a wooden mallet. That's how they make toys. When you're cooking, you have knives, you have sharp objects. And not to mention you have fire. So you got the cookie elf guys that are dealing with fire all day long, and then you got the North Pole elves living in cold. I take fire over cold all day long. So
They
Keebler
don't.
elves are gonna win it.
That's how they make those specific toys. You didn't see the advanced workshop where they're building the toys that have AI built into them now.
I gotta throw my hat in the ring on this one. I too agree that the Keebler Elves take this. And Travis, I was originally
In what?
I was
universe?
originally on
I have the
North Pole
answer once Drew's done.
because of their use of tools and their ability to make different things. I originally was going to go North Pole Elves.
Yeah.
But they work 364 days a year and they're tired to the bone.
No, they're not.
And guess what? The Keebler Elves, if you're crazy as fuck enough to use fire and ovens inside of a tree, I want you fighting on my side.
Good point.
Those motherfuckers
That is a good idea. I
bake
like it.
inside of a tree, and they're willing to go with that danger every day of their lives.
More like they're
They got
baking
them-
with trees, if you know what I mean.
They got them
To
crazy
be fair,
eyes,
though,
Travis.
I like where you're coming from, Drew, but the commercial I watched of the Keebler Elves, there's no baking involved. They do zero baking, which means the depths of their power and magic is unknown for them to manifest these cookies. And they also are on point with their fudge aim because they take their bucket of fudge and they pour it on things, they sling it on crackers.
Hmm.
And if this battle, say, goes
You think
to
it's like
Pole,
siege
you
warfare?
throw hot fudge onto a North Pole elf, instantly frozen, you're not going to do anything with your tools. So you're going to be frozen or however you want to describe cooled fudge and not be able to break out of it. And the Keebler Elves win with their, Drew, I appreciate that take, fire in a tree and being able to navigate that. I just don't understand how the North Pole does it.
I want to address a couple things. One, North Pole elves not tired. They are literally built, they are literally bred to work 365 or 364 24 hours a day. I think it's 25 hours a day because that's how good they are. Round the clock. That's what they do. They don't take breaks. They don't mess up. It's perfect. Yeah, sure. They got to go to school. They got shifts and stuff. They got unions, I'm sure. But
if they got unions, it's over. End of conversation.
But they're not
Santa's
tired.
a ball buster. There's no way they got unions.
Yeah, I know they don't. They're not tired, right? They are working around the clock and they make toys faster than any sort of human-made assembly line can even put out, right? They're making these complex, intricate toys that require skill and that require actual like know-how and dexterity in order to do something. If you versus, I'm going to use a little bit of magic. Their magic, while yes, the depths may be unknown, the only thing we have to go off of is that they have power over sugar, flour, and water, and maybe eggs. That's it. That's all we have to go off of. And so if we have that versus some guy that can, another elf that could potentially build a killer robot toy, give me North Pole Elves. You guys are nuts if you're going Keebler Elves. Danny, school these bitches on some North Pole Elves. Go. I'm giving you your opinion for you if you didn't notice.
Danny, you better go Keebler.
Which ones are gonna just go more rogue? And Keebler Elves are the rogue ones. They're the ones who are just literally foraging in the literal forest. They're making crazy delicious treats in a very hostile environment. North Pole Elves are under the protection of Santa. They have union rules. They probably have 401ks. They're doing all right. Keebler Elves, they're on their own. They're like pushing new frontiers. So yeah, I'm a Keebler Elf. I'm there.
Nice. And you brought up something that I wanted to add to. There is one tactic that is take out the leader. Cut off the head off the snake. Isn't that a real thing? I think it is. And you mentioned Santa. Well, the Keebler Elves can distract Santa until the end of time. All the dude eats is cookies. So all I gotta do is keep throwing cookies at him, and then their leader, the North Pole Elves leader, is done. He's gone. He's not paying any attention
If
to
you
his
watch
elves.
the documentary Elf, there is a head elf that has nothing to. Santa's the one that delivers the toys, right? He's not the one dictating, and he keeps track of the list of who is naughty or nice, but he's not the one doing the shifts. He's not the one telling the elves exactly what and when to build. So Santa's out of it. Like, don't bring Santa into this. Like, he has really. I love that the Jew is arguing for Santa. By the way, doesn't matter. He's a zero factor in this. And actually, hold on. Let's take a step back. In some circles, Santa himself is an elf.
So that brings him back in.
Depending on which documentary you watch. So yes, you might be able to distract him with cookies, but also he commands the air with his 7? Is it 7, 9? I don't know how many reindeer, and can just throw packages and presents onto the Keebler Elves, probably setting their treehouse on fire, which is really susceptible to fire, and just blowing shit up. Taking on all the Keebler Elves off of the nice list, putting them on the naughty list, and they're going to get coal.
But they can bake their own cookies.
Probably using the coal that Santa gave them.
Or more trees.
Makes them stronger.
Furthering my crazy batshit
No.
elf argument. Also, guerrilla warfare. These elves have got to be decentralized, like, cell units, because there's no way they're baking all the cookies that go out to the entire world out of one tree. So
they all do it from one tree.
No.
Ernie's tree. Ernie's the leader.
That has never been proven that it is one tree.
I'm looking it up. I'm going on mute so I can look this up because they're all one tree, and Ernie is the mastermind. He's the leader of all the Keebler Elves.
Prove it.
Well, I know he is the leader. I don't know about the one tree thing, but he is absolutely the main Keebler Elf. TBD.
I think all the mini documentary series that are out there about the Keebler Elves, I think those are all separate trees.
Well, okay, and think about this too, Travis. The Keebler Elves have kind of given us a hint of how good they are, because what they did is they created a cookie in their image. They created the double stuffed elf cookie to where you think you're looking at one elf and you flip it over, you turn around and there's the other elf. They're sneaky, and they married that off of something that they probably do in real life. They're both sides.
The North Pole elves to me are just engineers reading blueprints to make their toys. There's no physical prowess there. There's no, thinking for themselves going on.
There's no creativity.
No, they're following instructions. They are not.
They have an entire R&D department where they can use their creativity to create new toys. Of course, they have creativity. Don't. Oh my god! You got.
Sorry,
but it's
between
the wrong creativity.
Sorry, which documentary are you referencing? Is that the Santa Claus or? Travis is so mad. Hey, honestly, we could probably stop the episode now. I think that this was enough content just on the one.
I've come up with a new game for the rest of this now, and I hope everyone joins me. Travis,
let Travis go first, and let's make Travis mad.
We can all go.
This is the last episode.
Why did Barbanter podcast? Yeah. I'm here for it, though.
Garden gnomes versus flamingos.
Brawl.
I'm not as passionate about this answer, so I don't mind going first and you guys getting up on
which
me.
ones are you passionate about? Let's go to first.
Let's skip
the next one.
Skip down the list.
The next one. But this one, garden gnome versus flamingos. I'm going to go garden gnomes. They are much more sturdy. They hide in trees and they can jump out and stab. The made out of plastic flamingos. Yes, the flamingos have probably longer reach and probably have a speed advantage, but like I just think the garden gnomes are probably a little bit more shifty and can have the element of surprise. So I'm going garden gnomes.
I at first went flamingos because they have the advantage for air attack. And obviously, that's a huge advantage. They can just fly away. But I can't pick somebody who's going to do retreating most of the time. I am going to go with gnome. I think they can hide a lot easier. They're smaller, they're shifty, they're more sturdy. But gnomes have a advantage of having a magical side. It doesn't really matter, what story or movie or that you're referencing. Pretty much all of them relate gnomes to having some kind of magical ability or history or lineage or whatever it is. So I'm going to take the thing that's magical over the thing that can fly away. So I'm gonna agree with you, Travis. I'm going gnome.
Yeah, I'm team gnome on this one. Flamingos can get bent. They're nothing but a shirt decoration. And guard gnomes for the win.
I'm iffy on this one. I really want to say gnomes because I do think the magical element is there, but I can buy a 50 pack of pink flamingos right now and have it to my house from Amazon by tomorrow. I just feel like they got the numbers, and with the reach and the pointy little spears that go into the ground to keep them up, I feel like they have the aerial advantage as well. Yeah, I got it. I gotta go flamingos.
I'm not mad at that. I just with the gnomes, there's so many different types of gnomes.
Dude, I love gnomes, man.
Yeah,
amazing.
And my mother-in-law is that was like a hobby of hers, and they are now in my yard. And I find them I'll be blowing the leaves off the yard or whatever, and I'll just knock over a little gnome hut. I'm like, what the hell? Where the hell did that come from? And it actually adds a little bit of magic to me because I didn't put it there and I got to find it. But yeah, are gnomes.
That brings up an interesting point. Sorry, Daniel, I'll let you go in a second. But I would say just watching TV shows and movies and everything that at least I can remember or picture about gnomes and flamingos, I would say the flamingos are much more durable. They go through tornadoes. You always see pictures of them after a big storm, and they're just laying on the ground there. But the gnome's in 10 pieces because I don't know, a stick hit it or something like that. I'm picturing this now.
Objection, cause for speculation.
I mean, dude, everything we say is cause for speculation.
How dare you? Travis mentions documentaries, which is
these are facts.
I'm still picking gnomes.
Evidence.
I'm still picking gnomes, but I'm getting more of the appeal of flamingos. Danny, what
I feel like you're just changing the conversation to ceramics versus plastic molds. That's what you're trying to argue now.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna go strong flamingo solely based on the fact of all right, gnomes. You know everything about them. It's all out it's all out there, all the magical abilities, everything that they have. But what do we know about flamingos? And I think if you look at how many legs they choose to stand on, those little fuckers don't need 2 legs. They just need 1 leg to stand on. So what else could they do? We don't know. There's
your argument only has 1 leg to stand on.
If that.
Danny actually that's so Danny's bringing up the Princess Bride argument of they're only standing on 1 leg. We don't know how much power they really have if they ever choose to put that second leg down. It's changing from being right-handed to left-handed.
We don't know. There's mystery behind the flamingo. If they're just constantly chilling on 1 leg, what could they do with 2? We don't know. And for that reason, I go with flamingos.
So we actually
do know.
Yeah.
They take off and fly and run away.
They're not technically using any legs when they're flying, so that doesn't prove
birds have to
then
be
why do they put
very
both
light
legs
in
down
order to fly?
off?
Well, yeah, but just in that small moment, that's one aspect of the 2-legged situation.
We went from not using it to in that moment, so I'm confused.
It's true.
So
I will reword myself to their I don't know, with the standard stance is a single leg. They're just reserving energy. They're just accumulating power. This could be a Dragon Ball Z situation. We don't know.
We do. We actually have factual data on flamingos.
but
They're hollow bones. They don't weigh a lot. And so their single leg is not holding up a lot of weight, which means it's not that strong.
And they're the distant third cousin of velociraptors.
Yeah.
Also true.
okay, so think
I
about
stand
this
on my
though.
one leg. I stand
Fourth
on my
cousin.
one leg.
Look at a gnome, and I'm talking myself out of gnome because I keep on coming up with good arguments for the flamingos.
Well, I haven't heard one yet, but
But
Get 'em,
a,
get
a
'em.
garden gnome is looking forward, and even if it comes alive, it can turn
oh, this is
its
going to be
whole
so
body
dumb.
and look here and look here and look here, but it's slow. The flamingo can turn its head 360 within like a half a second. Like that long neck just allows it. Like the flamingo can look behind him and back and forth, like he's looking everywhere.
And then what, though? Just because you have the ability to see it, and then what? He sits there
Your
and he's like,
ability
I'm
to
about to
prevent
die.
an attack until you have the upper hand. You're basically giving yourself as much time as you need to make sure that you are in position to win the fight.
How?
Because you can see it coming a mile away.
What is the flamingo going to do to win the fight?
He's gonna hit it with his little beak from up in the air.
Just stab you. And flamingos have extraordinary, although unproven, abilities to camouflage themselves. Because we know that flamingos are pink because they eat salmon is their main diet, and
Shrimp.
that's why. So that means shrimp. Cool, thank you, shrimps. So that means if they could change their diet to adapt to any ground they so choose, and
They
then
can't
thus
change their
invisible.
diet. They can't.
No,
change their
I want to
diet.
stay on that.
We don't know how they feel.
No,
We don't know.
no.
We don't know. It could be a peer
Let's stay
pressure
on that
thing of why they
argument
eat shrimp.
because it's not the flex Danny thinks it is. So you said camouflage. Where do flamingos typically stand to eat said food? The water, which is not pink. So if camouflage is what we're going for, they're about as strategic as the dodo bird and should join them in the losers bracket.
I'm gonna give flamingos a hand up on the fact that these teeny tiny little legs
They
can
don't
hold
have
up their
hands.
body, but
It doesn't weigh
gnome-
anything. Their bones
a
are
gnome-
hollow.
a gnome has to. Bones
So
are hollow.
are any
It's still
other
a
raptor.
it's still a big body. Like
And that's why the garden gnomes
not.
are still in gardens and the velociraptors are not.
I'm picturing a.
Oh, I'm
garden
talking about
gnome-
raptors like just a hawk. Like their bones
okay.
are hollow.
Yeah, their legs
Then
are
the
not
Hawks are still
strong.
here.
Their legs are
We
not
lost
strong.
yesterday, but we're
They
still
got
here.
strong claws, but their legs are very weak.
It's gnomes. It's garden gnomes.
Everyone knows this.
Bar brawl.
Next bar brawl, we have a bowling ball versus a Chinese throwing star.
Mhm.
Am I going to jump out there again? Do we want to at least? I'm happy to do it because I'll do it. It's a bowling ball. You can't. A Chinese throwing star cannot penetrate a bowling ball.
Not a
Period.
good enough reason to use the word penetrate.
I'm going to use penetrate. It's just going to glance off that bitch and go flying in a different direction and get stuck in a tree or mud. And that's it. Can't be done. Bowling ball wins 10 out of 10. That's my argument.
As much as I want to play my new game where I trigger Travis the rest of the podcast, I can't on this one because because to me, if we're being honest about life, again, not being a throwing star expert, I don't see really one or the other, quote, damaging the other. However, just by sheer mass and force, the bowling ball will end up doing whatever it wants over the throwing star. So due to that fact, if this is a sumo wrestler match, bowling ball wins.
Basically.
And that's the route I'm taking.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at it kind of like that, but like heavyweight versus lightweight. Or like I was going bowling ball. However, with a bowling ball, if you think about it, the more often it gets used, you can look at it and you see these little nicks in it, little dents, little pieces of bowling ball that are missing. Probably because it's been used too often. It's been hitting the sides of the lane or who knows what it's been hitting. Gears that are bringing the ball back. It's getting chipped away. And with a Chinese throwing star, especially if it's like stainless steel, then it can be thrown 100,000 times at a bowling ball and just slowly chip little tiny pieces away again and again and again. But a bowling ball can land on a stainless steel throwing star a million times, and it's not going to break. It's not going to shatter. It's still going to be there. Not to mention that the star flies through the air. That's the whole point of it. So again, aerial attack over ground attack. So I'm going with throwing star.
I feel like it's almost a conversation of endurance.
Ooh.
That's the debate, right? It's endurance of to go off and what you're speaking about. And endurance wise, reanimated bowling ball. Like I get your point, Ben. Like I get yeah, sure, it can get nicked up. But so if you magnify into a bowling ball, because like when you if you're ever bowling or anything, you're like, oh, it's so smooth, it glides along the wood paneling, amazing. When you magnify in, like some of the gaps are like equidistant to like a Grand Canyon. Like that's like if you magnify in. So it is rough. It is porous in its own level. And the bowling ball has a denser mass than a throwing star. Thus, in endurance challenges, the bowling ball will prevail. That is my take.
What?
But then left turn.
I like the take.
I completely zoned out.
I like the take. Endurance makes sense. I would argue that both of them have a lot of endurance in a different way, but I think it's a unique take.
I think my only argument against bowling ball, I do think it is bowling ball. If this has been animated, a bowling ball at that point is still just a sphere with like legs and arms. And if you can get it off its feet, it has no real way to like get up easily. Like it's kind of like a turtle at that point on its back.
So I don't imagine it.
Is it a Geochamp?
A Geochamp?
What is it? You know what I'm trying to say? What is
Geodude.
a Pokemon?
A Geodude or
Thank
Golem?
you, Geodude.
Yeah, it's a
No,
Golem.
but if you're gonna go Pokemon, which I thought about as well, if you're gonna translate this to
going
Pokemon, well, I'm taking it there. The bowling ball is the Pokeball, and then the throwing star is a Star Me, and the Pokeball wins because it can capture the Star Me.
I'm
okay with it because you're supporting my argument.
I gotta add.
I hate everything that you just said.
The star is Star Me, and the bowling ball is Golem, and water beats rock, so the star wins.
I would be more okay with that argument, but I'm still gonna not. These are not Pokemon, so those rules do not apply. And Drew, I don't believe that the bowling ball would generate arms and legs. It would be more of there's a toy that recently, I don't want to say recently, it was like 5 years ago, came out that a company called Sphero made, where there's actually kind of a gyroscope within a ball and you can control it and you can just move this ball around the room. And I imagine the bowling ball would just be the bowling ball and would just be able to roll around wherever the hell it wants. So there's no arms and legs. It's just a sphere, and that's it.
Can I?
And so it just rolls around, and it's completely protected because that Ninja Star's not doing shit.
I don't disagree, Travis, but since Drew went there with the arms and legs of the bowling ball, I need to know what the Ninja Star has. Are we saying the Ninja Star has no arms and legs, or
with Travis's argument?
No, your original one with the bowling ball having arms and legs and turtling.
Oh no, I am
Ninja Star
imagining
having arms and legs, or
I'm imagining that it has arms and legs, and it's like your face on to it.
So would a Ninja Star just starfish if it lost its legs and like fall over sideways? And salmon?
Although starfish can regenerate
because it's not a perfect sphere, it'll have an easier time getting up than would a bowling ball if it was knocked on its back.
Yeah, but you guys are missing the core of what they're built on. Like,
no, we're not.
A bowling ball is
No, we're not.
it's this resin-based, semi-solid, thing that's you think is really strong until it starts to break down. Stainless steel throwing star is not going to break down. It's not going anywhere.
It has nothing to do with what they're made out of. It has everything.
Disagree.
It has everything to do with if you throw a throwing star at a round, non-flat surface, there's not enough surface area for the star to penetrate. And so it will glance off. And so your made up numbers of 1,000,000 and 100,000 times don't really factor, because for it to stab the bowling ball, think of it like, to bring back your army or military reference, there's a reason why you have angles on vehicles and your bullets are cone shaped, if you will, and it glances off, not having the flat surface to penetrate. So no, I don't care. I don't care if my bowling ball is made of styrofoam. But
To Rick's original point was, let's say the throwing star is able to climb up high enough, because it can't fly, so it's got to climb up high enough, launch itself at a fast enough speed, which it can't do on its own. First of all, like, it's got to be able, it's really just jumping at that point, which is not very fast at all to do any sort of damage. And then it glances off. Let's say it falls on its side, on its back, to Drew's argument. The bowling ball just rolls on top of it and says, "What now, bitch?" Nothing. Is
I
a
refuse to pick up a
12-pound
bowling ball that doesn't have
versus
"what
a-
now, bitch" on the side of it. From this point forward,
It's
You
bowling
could,
ball.
you could market that.
yeah.
Bar
Hashtag Team
banter
Bowling Ball.
branded bowling balls. What now, bitch? Are
Any of our
we?
sponsors?
Oh yeah,
I think-
bowling balls.
yeah, we're done with that one.
Okay. All right. Next bar brawl. Bar brawl is the classic liquor shelf versus a beer cooler.
Classic.
Yeah, I'd love to jump in on this one. So the way I see it is, any good liquor store, you've got a section of liquor shelves and you got a section of beer coolers. So think of each one as its own entity. And they both bring all these different things to the game, liquor versus beer, or mixers versus.
Before you get too far into that, and sorry to interrupt you, are we talking like I'm bringing my handheld cooler? Or are you talking like the cooler section, like a frozen food section?
No, you're in a store, the liquor shelf versus the beer cooler in the store.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Carry on.
Yeah.
I want to
So
see this movie. I don't.
yeah. So this is definitely one that brings all kinds of different things to the table. The liquor shelf, it's got gin, it's got rum, it's got whiskey, it's got mixers, it's got salt, it's got strainers, it's got all kinds of different things on it. The beer cooler, it's got heavy beer, light beer, it's got seltzers, it's got carbonation, it's got fruit, it's got all kinds of different things. So the idea behind this is, which one is gonna be stronger? And for me, it is a no-brainer. It is definitely the liquor shelf over the beer cooler. I appreciate the beer cooler has kind of like a protection. It's got a glass door where the liquor shelf's all open and out there. But for me, it's two things. Certain liquor is strong enough that it can be set on fire. So that adds a whole element to the attack. But a lot of liquor also gets sold with, things like strainers or pourers, metal objects that can pierce through a beer can like it's nothing, like it's just a piece of aluminum. So I'm going liquor shelf over beer cooler to win this fight every time.
So I just see the liquor shelf as the piece of wood that
Agreed.
the liquor's on, and not the contents of or what's on top of it.
Wow. And I did not explain this. I thought I just explained it.
I mean, you did.
I
heard
that's
you.
I
just made that up just now. So I mean, that's totally the thought process behind it. So make something up, because
so going with that, or let's just go with the contents of
is a classic liquor shelf though. Is that during the Prohibition era, which means
Yes.
it is an empty shelf against a empty cooler?
that was literally 100 years ago, by the way.
Does that change our fight club?
No. I'm still gonna go beer cooler, because no matter what you throw at it from the liquor shelf, bottles, pieces of wood involved, you're not getting past the beer cooler. Like, yeah, that glass is on the front is strong, and you have to also hit it. And there's 5 other sides that you could potentially hit on a beer cooler. One of them is usually facing the ground, so all the beer cooler has to do is kind of just drop to the ground, put the glass on the ground, and it's just you're not gonna rig it. You're not gonna get through that. It's not gonna happen. It's just beer.
To
cooler.
me, the beer cooler has reach. This is a ring event. So even if you're throwing, the beer cooler door is typically a bigger door than most liquor shelves I've seen. Now, itself, admittedly, I have the least amount of experience in this realm, since a few of you are from the liquor industry and such. So if I'm wrong, I'm willing to be told I'm wrong. Just I haven't seen it. So to me, the reach of the beer cooler door is longer, allowing him to create that separation and get those body shots from distance, where the liquor shelf has to get in close for the body jab.
Although the liquor shelf has the shots.
What?
You said body shots, and that's
yes. All right.
Yeah.
Travis, that was a Travis trick.
By the way, I've been struggling to find an org chart for the Keebler Elves for a good 20 minutes. I'll find it though.
Exactly, Travis. They're decentralized. You'll never find it. I'm going liquor on this one. I like Ben's flammability aspect on this. Where so I'm imagining I walk into a liquor store and you got the one, standalone liquor shelf right there that's double-sided with, rum on one side and tequila and then like bourbon, whiskey, whatever, versus that one excuse me, the beer cooler, and both of them just kind of get up and start going at it. I do like the reach on the door argument, Rick. That's a really good one because it could use it to, like, swat things. But at the end of the day, the front of those is glass, and the bottles that we use to put liquor in are generally pretty strong. Depends on the bottle, obviously. I feel like they would have no trouble breaking that glass and rendering the door useless as a weapon. And then once that is broken, if you can get something inside of there, some liquor that's flammable, and then light it on fire, you've basically started burning up the insides of this machine that is, based off of electricity, and electricity and fire do not mix, nor do they mix with liquid. So that's my argument. I think that the entire thing is the whole shelf, and part of it is the bottles, and they can just take the bottles and chuck that shit at the cooler until.
Well, but so Drew, you almost had me, but where you lose me is, let's not pretend like beer is super flammable. So to me, I'm picturing this argument, and I acknowledge that my glass on the beer cooler is going to get broken because it's glass. But my door still swings. It's still a metal or, hard. What I don't know. I don't make beer coolers. We can even call it plastic frame that still swings, and you have the big handle that you can kind of use as a SWAT. So let's say if you do somehow light the inside of a beer cooler on fire, why is the beer if we're including what's on the shelves, you can't just assume the cooler is empty. Why is the beer not going to put out this fire, and then we're back from ground zero?
So I thought about that. So you've got a mix of glass bottles and cans in there.
Okay.
Necessarily the cans, if you get it into the can section, those are not just going to pop early on from being hit by something. So you're going to have some time for that heat to build up. And then at that point, those are pressure like pipe bombs. And they're going to start popping on the inside. And once that fire starts going, with alcohol fires are no fucking joke. So if you can get it hot enough, fast enough to heat up those cans to where they start to basically destroy the beer cooler itself.
But what classic liquor cabinet has matches?
So I was ready for that. So most liquor stores, when you walk in, unless they have a fully working humidor, have a desk or
But that's
a
not on your
tabletop.
liquor shelf. That's somewhere
It
else in the
is.
store.
It is a tabletop humidor on top of the liquor shelf where they keep the
Okay.
375s and the small bottles.
Okay.
Right when you walk in at
So
the
we're
checkout
picking
counter.
our
That is
best
a liquor
version
shelf.
of each.
No, but
If we're
that's
picking our
that
best
is a
version
liquor
of
shelf.
each, then I am picking not just the beer cooler that's on the side of the wall. I'm picking the beer cooler that's in the corner that has one door of glass and is surrounded by walls. And then I just back up into you and you can't break my glass. Like if we're picking our best version that's ideally suited for this, like it
Yeah.
seems like we
You
are,
got to pick your best version.
then
Yeah.
give me the corner cooler. You can't set it on fire because there's the cinder blocks around it. And I just fall on you and break the wood. I want to come over with some of your arguments, but you lose me with some of these things. Because if you would have said that, like if you would have said the fights in the liquor store, I'd be like, okay, fine, first one to it, fine. But we're saying we're coming to the party with our, which is also fine if we're making this a gladiatorial event. That happens too. But
Well, so okay, you're making a really good point. So to think kind of a little outside the box because we're not doing that at all. Think about what do you
this
call
is very
it?
logical when this happens.
Help me with a phrase here, Rick, because you're the military guy. What do you call it when like a friendly goes and goes into battle knowing that they're not going to survive? Like somebody in the
Human shield.
no,
the
like
first man picks up the rifle. The second man grabs the ammo when the first man falls.
Ground meat.
so.
I don't know.
So okay, so think about it this
I don't
way.
think that's real.
Yeah, no, probably not in real life, but
Highlander.
if there's thousands of bottles of beer and thousands of bottles of liquor on the
on
shelves,
the wall, thousands of bottles. Weird.
yeah, and I'm able to throw a handful of those liquor bottles at you, as they're giving their lives to the cause, and they're gonna throw it at you, and they're gonna light on fire, and they're gonna hurt you. If you're throwing a bunch of bottles of beer at me, I'm just gonna get wet. I'm not gonna catch fire. Nothing's gonna happen. Like the punch of liquor brings more.
But I'm not throwing.
Stuff that can
But you're
happen.
assuming if I'm the beer cooler, I'm not throwing anything at you. I'm hitting you with my door. Like I'm not throwing my bottles at you. That is not my attack. I'm hitting you with my door. You can't reach me because you have short doors or no doors at all. If you're the metal liquor shelf,
I'm screwed to the ground.
I don't know
man.
which liquor shelf y'all are using.
I'm a shelf. I'm screwed to the ground.
Yeah. And so I'm going to come over and hit you with my door. Like there's no
in my version I'm walking into this liquor store as a spectator and they're just facing off at each other. But they can, like, there's mobility. They can move around.
So it's like your catapult game, like your tanks game or worms on the computer, and you're just launching things. Okay. Okay.
Good game. Great game.
Yeah, but you don't have to launch your stuff.
You don't have to.
You're right. You're right.
It could
But
be,
if
you could hide
the
your
liquor
worms
shelf
behind a wall.
You're right.
But if you're the
like a
liquor
cooler.
shelf, you don't have any necessarily like melee weapons.
But what if you're
you
the
have
liquor shelf
ranged,
that has the
you have
mixers?
ranged attacks?
Because that happens. What if you're the mixer shelf
Also,
that has
let's
the
be
mixers?
honest.
And everyone gets really
the
sticky.
liquor,
Rick.
liquor
Everyone
only
gets real sticky.
liquor
Ooh, that's a
only
good
really
thought.
ignites at a certain proof, right? So you have to have that level of alcohol
Yeah,
being
there's
launched,
a-
and
There's
you
a
also
lot of
have
that.
yes, but not
it's
every.
like one out of every 50 bottles is probably flammable. Yeah.
right. So not that many, and then you also have to have a source of fire. Like
But
it, just
you're
because
in the bathroom.
Let's just be clear. Danny hasn't said one word yet
It's-
on this battle. So
He
he's
had
got to
his
jump
phone
in. I had time to
off
pee.
to the side.
I'm gonna need Danny to have an opinion before this.
Just like reading the list, I was like, this is gonna be the shortest one. This one makes no sense.
No, Danny,
y'all have
we will
gone.
make it
I'm like,
make sense.
oh no, the sticky hands. Like I don't. I'm out. But holy crap!
Like I want to come over to the liquor shelf, but something keeps stopping me.
Also, at
It's your
the end of
door.
the day,
Is it the gigantic beer cooler that's in the way?
It might be. It might be.
at the end of the day, both of these motherfuckers are drunk. So
You right.
it's really just
So
going to
we
be
all win.
the sloppiest battle you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
They're both
everyone
gonna kick.
wins.
They're both gonna kick Wine's ass. Wine's gonna fall over and die.
Well, yeah. All right. Next, we're moving on.
Sorry, Danny.
Next bar brawl. Golf bag versus football locker.
Travis, you got to get some caffeine, man.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. It's football locker. It's literally made out of metal. And it's got
Insane.
doors that opens and closes. And golf bag's just like a little whiny bitch. And can be knocked over. And a football locker probably can't, because it's usually, I think Drew actually has a football locker type thing and would easily crush a golf bag. Go ahead, Drew, with your hand raised.
All right, if we're talking football locker, and I know nothing about the room where people go to like be in a football thing, whatever you call that.
Locker room?
There you go, the locker room. But from every movie I've ever seen, there are those open ones that don't have a door on it. It's just literally a place to like put your pads and hang your jersey and put your helmet, and it doubles as a bench so you can get dressed. Like that's your football locker, right? Am I incorrect in that?
It depends on your locker room, but you're not entirely wrong.
Those are the ones that I see, and like you can say the same thing for hockey or soccer
hockey?
or ice hockey. Like those are the locker rooms that I see. Shut up.
No, I'm laughing at Rick because why did that have to be qualified? What?
Well, because
Could've-
hockey is not
could've
popular
been-
enough to just say hockey and know what you're talking about. It
could have been field hockey.
It could have been anything.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's ice hockey. Always hockey
Is
is
it?
ice
Is it?
hockey.
Roller,
Could have been roller hockey.
yeah,
Roller hockey,
exactly.
and
I'm
they
with
don't
Rick on
have,
this one.
They
Yeah.
don't have lockers.
I need to qualify.
They're showing up.
You
They're
just said
showing up.
hockey, I need to qualify.
No,
I've hijacked it.
One of them has a professional league
They all do.
on ESPN 1.
I have watched women's field hockey on ESPN 1 when it's the slow season in between things, but it has shown.
One of them has a national league of the hockey variety. That's the topic.
But there's a national
hockey.
field
Hockey means
Okay.
ice hockey. Moving on.
Getting back to my point, if that's the type of locker we're talking about, which I consider the most acceptable locker room locker for
Field hockey has the Hockey Pro League. Just to
Football.
throw it out there.
versus a golf
There's 9
bag,
teams.
which has golf clubs in it, golf balls.
That was never specified. This is just
No.
a bag.
Dude, it doesn't matter. That's part of the argument.
Yeah, it's part of the argument.
I'm okay.
assuming-
Keep going. I'm okay. With
I'm
it.
assuming
Keep going.
that the football locker has all the pads and the helmet and jersey and cleats in it too.
And the player,
No, I
they sit in the
Nope.
locker.
Rude.
Comes with the
And the nerd they stuffed in there.
I might be swayed on that one. The golf bag has wheels generally nowadays with the little kickstand. A lot of
Hey,
times,
not generally.
yeah.
Occasionally, not
Occasionally.
Not
It's
usually.
not-
Okay, we're talking
common.
best case scenario.
Best case scenario,
Um,
but not usually. It's usually an add-on.
Was it come? Does the golf bag come with the caddy?
Rarely, like 1% out of 100.
I mean, if the football locker comes with the football player,
That's
even though the caddy's not.
I'll give you the caddy, just the wheels aren't a thing unless you get like the push cart at the course. Like the bag itself doesn't come with wheels. I'll give you the caddy if you give me the football player, but the golf
Well,
cart.
I don't want to give you the football player because the caddy's not the same physical
I agree.
specimen.
So I'm
The golfer and the player are equal.
All right, take
The
away the
caddy and the
wheels.
nerd.
Take away the fucking humans in this aspect. It's the inanimate objects versus each other.
All right.
If you get the clubs in there, those fucking titanium clubs that you can swing away jack at it, there's no way that it doesn't win against this little 3-walled cubicle that only holds pads and a helmet.
I like where you're starting, but here's where I think it wins. So I agree, and by it wins the football locker. I agree. The heads of the clubs are strong. If the entire club was made with the same material as the head of the club or the face of it, so like the shaft will bend. So you get like one, maybe two good hits with the golf club before it bends, and then it's not as like it would still do damage because you can still find a way to hit it or make impact with like the face of the club, but you don't get the full force of the swing. So through that, I think it takes now probably hurts. It's a good solid hit, but I think the overall locker may be dented, but it's still coming, especially if we're saying it has all the pads. There could be some strategic placement to support the walls, and then the open face locker just falls on the golf bag and it's got it pinned for the count.
Yeah, and on top of that
is the football player.
Fair. The literally, if it's got the pads and the helmet, those things are literally designed to withstand impacts greater than any golf club can deliver.
I agree with the helmet. I don't know about the shoulder.
I'm going to disagree with that, Travis.
They are. You haven't played football. It's fine. Yeah. And the golf club is swinging at the velocity that a golf club can swing itself, not a player velocity. It's it's really just going to fall on top of the pads, which is designed to stop, I don't know, just a 2 mile per hour impact from a piece of metal. Cool. That's great. The bag is itself. Oh God. Like nothing. There's nothing the bag can do against essentially. If we're going to the football locker, which is essentially just a wall, there's nothing these clubs can do against a wall. Like they're inanimate objects.
But let's stay consistent. We were talking about the bowling balls and Ninja Stars having arms and legs. So let's.
I didn't. That was you guys. I said the bowling ball was a circle.
You're right.
Do not get arms and legs.
That's fair. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. Carry on, Danny. Get in the game.
You're literally trying to like fight against like a pliable substance versus a metal object.
Which one's pliable?
Object. Leather.
Ah, okay.
It's talking about the bag.
Yeah, I'm back on board now.
Yeah, there's just nothing there. Like literally, the locker. Like you know how those little rivets to like airflow out. That's like that might as well be a cheese grater. You can just cheese grate the leather straight off there, and it's just shredded instantly. This is done, and that's the end of the battle. It's very short, like 7 to 12 seconds. Metal wins.
So I actually haven't gone yet. I agree that metal wins, but from somebody who has spent a long time in industry that had all kinds of different lockers, most lockers, including football lockers, Travis, and I haven't played football, are made of cheap metal because they don't need to be made of anything else. They're inside, they're cheap, they're pliable. Football players throw shit against them. There's giant dents in them. But the golf bag is not. The golf bag is made to withstand weather. It's made to withstand being tossed around. Golf bags are made to withstand basically the human touch, where football lockers are not. Football lockers get rusted and dented, and golf bags do not. They last. Not to mention the fact that Danny's point of metal wins. The metal in a golf club is 100 times stronger than the cheap metal made in a locker. And after a certain number of dents, man, that locker is going to start falling. Yes, you're right, Rick. The shafts may start to fall apart. All you got to do is get a new shaft, man. The head of that.
Not allowed.
How can you get a new locker shaft?
Then? Can't get a new shaft. I'll get a new locker, and we'll start.
Pull out a new club.
No. Pull out a new club. No, pull out a new club. but the golf bag didn't change. The golf bag is still resilient. So
Yeah, but then I
you-
could just fall on top of you with my open face, and you can
You-
be as
hey,
resilient as you
you
want.
can throw 1,000 footballs at my golf bag, man. You can replace every single football. You can replace
throwing a
every single
football at you.
pad, but you can't replace the core. So
I'm not trying to.
that's what I'm saying. Your core is going to eventually break to what the golf bag brings.
I'm going to absorb you
Okay,
in my
so
core.
hold on. Ben, you mentioned the golf bag is resilient, right? That's usually reserved for a defensive type of strategy. Once the golf bag is out of clubs, the golf bag itself can't do shit. Right? And so if the football locker can withstand, which I assume it can withstand several golf club attacks, and to Rick's point, just falls on to the golf bag cannot do anything. And at that point, we go to a decision. The football locker wins. It's pinned. It can't get up. It's done. Like,
But
the
so
end.
if we're saying that the locker has some sort of ambulatory motion, like it can fall on something, that means the golf bag can also move, which golf bags are usually roundish shape.
Sure.
So then why wouldn't it just roll away?
Then the golf
and then once
the football locker gets back up and tries to fall again.
But not to mention the golf bag, its entire life is built on mobility. The entire reason behind a golf bag is that it's mobile and it moves and it goes from golf course to golf course and state to state. The locker doesn't move. It doesn't know how to move. The golf bag's going to win at movement every time. There's no basis to the movement argument.
So
football locker.
That's where I gotta disagree, because the bag itself is ergonomically designed for a human to carry it versus movement on its own. It is not
No bag is moving if you leave it
to
there.
move. A rolling suitcase is
But
designed
neither is
to
the
move.
locker. It's
designed.
I'm
to
not saying it's
bolted
not,
to
but
the wall,
I'm
or
disputing Ben's argument that it is designed to
that's not-
move, because it's not.
That's
It's
not my
designed
argument.
to be carried, which is different from movement.
How is that not your argument? That's
It
literally
is
what you were saying.
designed to be moved.
carried
No, it's designed to be moved.
by a
Carried.
different
It's
person?
not designed to move
Right.
on its own. It's designed to be moved, where the locker is not. The locker doesn't know movement. It moves
Then
once
neither does
from the
bag on its
manufacturer.
own.
Yeah.
It moves once the manufacturer to the football locker room, and then
But
it
then
gets
neither does the
bolted to
bag.
wall.
If you're saying the bag does not design to move, it's designed to be
No, it
moved,
is.
then the bag itself does
I
not
would
know
say
movement.
hold on. I would say the bag knows movement. It doesn't know how to move. It's like,
Right.
I know that.
The
I've
same
seen
thing.
that. That's cool.
Because if the bag needs something else to make it move, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It can't move just because it's like, oh, I've felt that experience before. Cool. I felt the experience of flying before, but I'm not about to walk out the door and
Right.
fly.
Every single
So-
one of these arguments tonight is about these inanimate objects that
Look,
don't know how to
I am-
move on their
look.
own. They can move now.
Correct. But
Yeah.
just if
And
you would have
same
stuck with
the
that, we would
football
have been
locker.
okay with it. But you're trying to say that the locker is inanimate, and then because the bag is designed to move, it therefore can move. We're disagreeing with that train of thought. If we're saying they both can move, then sure, they both can move. If you're saying one is can't move, they both can't move unless there's an outside force making it move. So we're just trying to make you stay consistent.
One has a stronger history of movement. That's all.
That doesn't mean anything.
I disagree. If I play the piano for 100 years, or if I play the tuba for a day, I'm gonna be a lot.
Doesn't count. It doesn't apply.
100%.
That has to do with the person playing the instrument, not the instrument themselves.
Right.
You do something more often, you get better at it. That's
The
Okay,
piano
so
didn't get better at playing.
I'll tell you what. If you stay in front of your piano all week without touching it and it makes a sound, I'll let you win this argument. But if not, I'm going to need you to refill my drink.
Yeah, no, this no. You're like an
That's
hour
what you
from-
just said.
I'm not coming over to your house to refill your drink.
I'm okay to call that one a draw. I just think there's some
Oh, I'm good with either side.
Illogic
I'm just enjoying
arguments
arguing.
out
Yeah.
there.
Well, that was interesting.
We lost half of our followers just for that.
So we're down to 2.
Down to
Got
2.
it.
Yep. Hondo, baby.
Sweet.
You're
Your
saying
mom,
Down
your
to
mom,
2.
your mom unfollowed us.
Guys, tonight on Last Call, we're doing headlines. So basically, like if you go to sleep and you lay on a corduroy pillow, you're gonna get headlines. I've got 3 headlines. One of them is not a real headline. It is up to you guys to determine which one is not the real headline. You guys up for this? Sounds good?
Yeah.
It's different. It's awesome.
No.
Cool. We're going to go Ben, Drew, Rick, and Danny. I'm going to read the 3 headlines, and then you guys tell me 1, 2, 3, which one is not the real headline. I have 8 sections. All right, here we go. First 3 headlines. Seen on safari, crocodile swings from elephant's tail. Remote kissing device lets long distance lovers share silicone smooches. Amazon shoppers are obsessed with this pink frogs product. Ben, which one is not the real headline?
I'm gonna go with Amazon's pink frog product.
Drew, which one's not the real headline?
I feel like the first 2 are feasible. I'm gonna go with number 3 as well.
Rick, which one's not the real headline?
I don't remember. Give me number 1.
Danny, which one's not the real headline?
Number 3.
Next section, Florida man arrested for calling 911 after his cat was denied entry into a strip club.
Oh, please be real.
That's Bedford man, not Florida man.
7.5 simple things you can do to save SpaceX. And cow that fell into Italian lake gets a helicopter lift to safety. Ben, which one's not real?
I'm gonna go with strip club, thinking it was maybe like a dog or something. I'm gonna go strip club.
That's 1.
Yeah, 1.
Drew,
I'm going number 2.
that's 7.5 simple things. Rick, which headline is not true?
Yeah, give me number 1 as well. Florida man doesn't have cat.
Danny,
It's 1. Florida man.
Florida man. All right, next group. Can Robert De Niro save Halo? State population to double by 2040. Babies to blame. And bridge closure date Thursday or October. October. Ben, which one's not real?
These are all fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. And what's ridiculous is 2 of them are real.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go with Thursday, October is real because that's just asinine. Robert De Niro is not real. I don't know.
Drew,
Yeah, I'm gonna go number 1.
Rick.
Oh, this reminds me of my favorite news article. Cecil's brother Jericho, also a lion. So give me number 3. I hate
And Danny.
Also alive.
I'm gonna go with I feel like you're playing mind games, so I'm going number 2. Just
All right, next group. Utah Poison Control Center reminds everyone not to take poison. Hospitals resort to hiring doctors. And 15 terrible truths about Walmart CEO C. Douglas McMillan. Ben, which one's not real?
I don't know, maybe they were hiring nurses. I'm gonna go with number 2.
Drew.
I'm gonna go number 1.
Rick.
just for diversity. Give me number 3.
Nice.
Fair enough. Danny.
But Doug is a dear friend. Doug is real. Doing number 1 for sure.
Just because Doug is, it could have been 14 things. Just because Doug is real doesn't mean the number was right.
Ooh.
True. I didn't pull one of those, by the way. So all of the I didn't mention this at the beginning one. At the intro, I didn't mention
Travis needs to go.
Travis
to
is
bed.
drunk.
I need to go to sleep.
Drunk and tired.
This is better than the rest of our
I
episode.
know.
Mhm.
I didn't mention this at the beginning of this section, but all of the fake answers are, we'll call them, quote, AI generated.
Dude, AI crushing it.
AI being like a random generator on the internet. So the 15 terrible truths could be not. I didn't change 15 to from 14 to 15.
I got you.
Next one. Next group. Girl asks police to run DNA test on Christmas cookie for evidence of Santa. Kielbasa.
That happened.
Edifying ways to help employees in today's tight-walled world. And a dolphin skull was found in someone's luggage in Detroit. Ben,
I'm going to go with the kielbasa's wrong.
Drew,
Yeah, that one sounds nonsensical in a way, so I'll go number 2 as well.
Richard,
Give me the dolphin skull. Number 3.
dolphin skull. Danny,
Because it's Detroit, absolutely Dolphin Skull.
next section. America's next top mullet will soon be crowned. Gordon Ramsay's dwarf porn double was found dead in a badger den in Wales. And
Gotta be true.
and Litbox, the smart trader with in-house e-products for today's workforce. Ben,
I'm going to
Which-
say it was. It wasn't Wales. I'm going with the double. Number 2.
you double porn. The porn double you think is false?
Yeah, I think it was in maybe like
Okay.
the US or something.
Okay, okay. No, Drew. Which one's not true?
Number 1.
Okay. Richard,
Give me number 2.
Danny.
I will never do anything against Gordon Ramsay, so I'm going to go number 2.
Next set: 6 mind-blowing trumpet playing secrets from Kevin Spacey. The miracle cure kills 5th patient, and Utah paperboy headbutted, tackled, and trapped in a tree by a goat named Voldemort. Ben, which one's not real?
That third one has to be real. I'll go with the first one. Not real.
Drew.
Yeah, I think number 1.
Rick.
Too many buzzwords in number 3. Give me number 3.
And Danny.
Number 1.
Last grouping. Macaulay Culkin storms off stage at UK gig after fan interrupts kazoo solo. Why you should give up sex and devote your life to full roof replacement. And opera singer can't stop farting after surgery, loses job. Ben, which one's not real?
I mean, I was going to say 2 until you said 3. I'm still going to go 2.
Drew?
I'm going number 1.
Richard?
Give me number 2 as well.
And Danny.
Yeah, 2.
Okay, I'm going to run through these real quick. So with the first group, most of you guys were right with the Amazon shoppers are obsessed with this Pink Frogs product. The second grouping, the wrong one was 7.5 simple things that you can do to save SpaceX. So that means the Florida Man
true.
one was correct. That is a real headline.
Florida man has a cat. Disgraceful.
Yep. The next one was, can Robert De Niro save Halo? Was the made up one,
Nice.
not the bridge closure date one.
Dude, Drew's 3 for 3.
The next one, I don't think any of you guys got this one right. 15 terrible truths about Walmart CEO Douglas McMillan.
Rick got that.
Okay, not a real headline. So hospitals
Because it was
resort.
14 truths.
No, that was just literally randomly generated.
I know.
By whatever. So hospitals resort to hiring doctors. Real headline. The next one, Kielbasa edifying ways to help employees.
Yes.
That was fake. The dolphin skull was a real thing found in someone's luggage in Detroit.
Ugh.
This one might have been the one that no one got. Litbox, the smart trader with in-house products for today's workforce, was not a real headline. The Gordon Ramsay dwarf porn double
I
was
looked
found
that
dead
up.
in a
Oh
bed
my
in
God.
New Wales.
Oh my
Was
God.
real.
It was.
We all missed that one.
Oh my god.
6 mind-blowing trumpet-playing secrets from Kevin Spacey was not real. So miracle cures are killing people. And lastly, why you should give up sex and devote your life to full roof replacement was not real. And the Macaulay Culkin one was real, Drew. Just so you know.
I only picked the Macaulay Culkin one because I thought he was filming in Los Angeles. I didn't know he was doing like a stage production.
Oh, these are not like necessarily recent headlines. These are just any headlines.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
These are just headlines.
Hey, Drew, high five. We tied.
Guys, I'm tired. I need to go home. My Uber's here.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am. This is great. This is fun. A lot more heated debate than I thought there was going to be. And I'm here for it. That's what this podcast is about. So if you're listening, follow us on the Twitter, follow us on the YouTube, follow us on the Instagram. We are on 7 different sites for our podcast now. I went ahead and made sure we're on a bunch of different sites. So wherever you get your podcasts, we're probably there. Find us. The Bar Banter Podcast. We're there. You just got to find us. And while you're at it, just remember, just like feel with your soul, your entire being, that this is our podcast and you're just along for the ride.